Well, hello and welcome to the Askew Sunday School class synopsis for today. Our lesson today is Feast in Wisdom. And it comes from Proverbs, the 9th chapter. And once again, I'm going to read to you today from the Message. It's the Bible in a contemporary language. Before I get started, I do want you to join me in something, and that is in encouraging our young people to wear masks. I talked with a young man this week, and evidently he had listened to somebody on social media who suggested that we don't have to wear masks. Actually, he said the masks make us sick. And I asked him, I said, think about why somebody would not want you to wear the mask, or why a mask would make you sick. I think sometimes our media, our social media is so permeated with that which is not true that sometimes our young people just buy into it. And they kind of believe in conspiracy theories and things like that. So join me in asking them to wear masks. Okay, let's get ready. Lady Wisdom has furnished her home, is supported by 7 hewn timbers. The banquet meal is ready to be served. Lamb roasted, wine poured out, table set with silver and flowers. Having dismissed her serving maids, Lady Wisdom goes to town, stands in a prominent place, and invites everyone within the sound of her voice. Are you confused about life? Don't know what's going on? Come with me. Oh, come have dinner with me. I've prepared a wonderful spread. Fresh baked bread, roast lamb, carefully selected wines. Leave your impoverished confusion and live. Walk up the street to a life with meaning. If you reason with an arrogant cynic, you'll get slapped in the face. Confront bad behavior and get a kick in the shins. So don't waste your time on a scoffer. All you get for your pains is abuse. But if you care, and if you correct those who care about life, that's different. They'll love you for it. Save your breath for the wise. They'll be wiser for it. Tell good people what you know. They'll profit from it. Skilled living gets its start in the fear of God. Insight into life from knowing a holy God. It's through me, Lady Wisdom, that your life deepens and the years of your life ripen. Live wisely, and wisdom will permeate your life. Mark life, and life will mark you. I decided today to make some notes on this lesson because we're ending our series on wisdom. And I just got these ideas that just flowed from the lessons that we've been studying, and I said, I think I'll just make some notes and share them with the Sunday school class. I do still need my glasses, though. Wisdom is open to all of us. It's not based on age, maleness or femaleness, body size, IQ or physical appearance. It's not based on education, denomination, money, neighborhood, race, or so-called social status. It's also not based on physical or mental health. Now that might surprise you. But I want to share with you that there are those people whose bodies are not healthy, but they're wise. And there are people who have diseases of the mind, people who have chronic depression, people who have, there are some who are afflicted with schizophrenia that's of a chemical basis, but they know how to seek wisdom. I had a friend, her name is Jackie, who wrote a little pamphlet for people who have, I think she said bipolar disorder. And it's called Mother Hunter's well, I'm sorry, I'm not going to get it right, but it's something like Mother Hunter's Tips for Living with Cognitive Disorders. Anyway, wisdom is based on God. Simply put, listening to God, looking for God in all circumstances. I frankly was drawn to the practice of counseling psychology because it asked me to look at what's real and right about a person's difficulties rather than to look at what's wrong with them. I worked for 25 years at a place called Project Enlightenment, where our philosophy was to look at a family's strengths to help them overcome their weaknesses. I enjoyed this because it also is a philosophy of wisdom. If we get stuck at only seeing what's wrong with someone, we can't help them because they pick that up. They know that we see them as flawed, and nobody wants to be seen as flawed. So what people typically want is, what am I doing that's not working for me? Sometimes I'm so stuck in what I'm doing that I can't see for myself how to straighten this out. And so that's why I love the work that I did. In this scripture that we've studied, it encourages us not to argue with people who don't see what we see or understand what we understand. Instead, it suggests that you respond to people who care about their lives and the lives of others. Share your experience with people who see something in you or your life that they want for themselves. They ask such things as, how? How do you do this? Why didn't you get angry when so-and-so said that to me? What can I do to improve my life? They want better. It goes a long way if we work with somebody who wants better. It stops us, shortens us, makes us angry if we try to convince people that they should want something better when they don't. So we need to kind of just leave them to God and pray for them. That's the best sometimes that we can do. Share your experiences I'm sorry, I just read that. They don't want you bragging. People don't want to hear how you accomplished this or give them platitudes for life. You know, the empty wagon makes a lot of noise. People don't want to hear that. They want your wisdom. Encourage people rather than put them down. Love them anyway. You know, sometimes that can be very hard because we want so much for people to also better our lives. I know I do. And so sometimes when a person is having difficulty themselves and they're close to you, you want them to change so life can be easier for you. But the fact of the matter is that we've got to love these people anyway, even if we have to let them go. And I think one way to think of it is, have you ever thought about how the healthy person loves a baby? And I maybe have shared this with you before. But when we're healthy, we are not in any way wanting something from a baby. What we want is to give to the baby. What we want is to love the baby. We want to take care of the baby. And though we don't always go around taking care of and nurturing and comforting adults, many adults would make them think that we think that they're a baby and can't take care of themselves. But what we can do is encourage people versus criticize them. You know, when I used to do workshops on anger, one of the examples I would use is to really pay attention to a little toddler who's having a temper tantrum. Oh boy, can they get mad. They stomp, they throw things, they yell, they scream, and yet what they want is to fix whatever it is that they're frustrated about. Imagine that a little toddler whose hands are able to put a block on top of one other block, to build a tower, and they've looked out the windows, they've driven along, and they've seen these big buildings. So they try to make a building by putting blocks on top of each other. But though they have an image of what they want, they don't have the foresight or the skill to understand that anything like that needs a base. That comes later. So when that toddler is just so frustrated and so angry because they couldn't make happen what their vision was, to get angry with them, to yell at them, to say stop screaming or shut up or all those kinds of things that sometimes we're tempted to do when their behavior makes us angry, when we're in a store and they want something, there are a couple of things that you can do. But the most important thing that you can do is to help them calm down. Sometimes all you have to do is help them breathe. And there was a lady who did brain research, and she said that little kids, when they get upset, need a way to learn how to breathe. One of my sons was having a temper tantrum one time, and I mean, he was screaming his head off, and I said, "Sugar, I need you to calm down." And he looked up at me with big eyes, and he said, "But I can't." And I realized then that he was so wound up in his frustration that he really did not know how to calm down. And so I said to him, I said, "Okay, I want you to take a deep breath." Some kids, we have to tell them, use your fingers as candles on a birthday cake and blow out the candles. Anything that causes them to inhale and exhale. Even giving a child who's having a temper tantrum, even giving them a piece of chewing gum, something that they can do over and over again, from what I understand, calms the frustration down. Now you say, well, how do you get to that knowledge? Wisdom teaches you to observe. See, look at what works and look at what doesn't work. And that's what these scriptures have been encouraging us to do, to pay attention to our lives, to pay attention to what works in our lives and what does not work in our lives, and share that with others. Our scripture says that wisdom deepens our life. When we pay attention to life, we learn. If we live wisely, we grow even more wise. Our scripture suggests that if we follow the crowd, we end up like the crowd, fooled, foolish, and confused. Think about it. The more people you have in a crowd, that's the more ideas that you're going to hear. That's the more anger you're going to feel. That's the more emotion you're going to have. And if you're sensitive like I am, sometimes depending on the crowd, you want to kind of step back from it because you can feel all the energies of those people. But that's not wisdom. Following the crowd is not wisdom. God has a still, clear, and permanent voice. His wisdom and what he teaches us is always the same. It is to our highest good. We are led up one path when we follow God and not down several, confusing twists and turns. The mountain may be steep, but with God, we are strengthened to climb it. These lessons that we've been having for this is the 4th week, is about wisdom from God, truth from God. Truth is love, and God is love. God is also wisdom. So let us seek wisdom for ourselves and share our wisdom with others. I just love you. I'll see you next Sunday. Bye-bye.